Alrighty, so when the computer is at a dead stop, it's quiet. I even have the 6800K turned off so you can tell. Quiet. Nothing going on. Absolutely nothing at all. When I push this thing, it's a wind tunnel. I don't even know where to really hold the mic. I'm not really listening to it, but here we go. That's what it sounds like when it's just coming on. Nothing else, just turning on. All the fans are set to like auto level except for the fact that they mostly can't because the H80 has the push button on the CPU itself, and that's it. And that's on max all the time because you can't control it without, like, whatever they call it, Corsair Link or whatever. So, yeah, that's what my computer sounds like right now from a dead stop. Alrighty guys, so standing here next to my computer with all of the original equipment, H80, XFX power supply, all the original fans, all that. This is what it sounds like when it's running at load. The biggest thing that's causing all of the noise is the power supply, so I'm probably going to just rip out the Fractal one out of the 6800K since that's like a 750 watt, and the one I'm using is a 650, so yeah. Alright, so I took my side panel off, so now it's just all pretty much open. And I think I found what most of the startup noise was, and that was my two Cooler Master fans I had on the side panel. So here's what it sounds like with the side panel off. Yeah, that's actually a lot quieter than it was. I have a feeling that these two fans I put on the side here were the culprit to that. I actually had to literally cut this one off right in here because it wouldn't fit next to the H80. It was getting too hot, so I was like, okay, well, I'll just grab some cheapo fans and suck the air out. Yeah, well, that works, except for the fact that it wouldn't fit, so I just modded it myself. It's, you know, ghetto as hell, but hey, it worked. I mean, served me well. I mean, the temps I was just getting were pretty much what I was getting when day one I put the H80 in this thing, so it works. Right now, the most loudest thing in here when it's at load is the power supply. That power supply's fan gets really loud under load. I have a feeling I'm almost at its limit, because I was doing some calculations on the power supply calculator earlier, and if I push my system anymore, I'd probably be needing a bigger power supply. So I think what I'm going to end up doing is taking this 650, shoving it in the 6800K, and taking that Fractal 750 watt, if I remember right, and putting it in here. Plus, this one's been through its paces and pretty much beat the hell. Just under all of the stress. I mean, 8350 with a 7970 on a 650 watt power supply. I mean, most people would probably have at least 800 watts if they were, you know, going at it. But I mean, a couple years now and it's been on that thing. So, hey, I'm not complaining. Alright, guys, so I was working all night on this thing. Most of the day as well. Got all of it looking really pretty. Most of my plan pretty much fell out. I couldn't put another fan here on the side panel because the cooler is physically too tall in my case. And the 140 mil on top would not fit because the cooler is once again too tall for my case. There is a 120 millimeter on the back, the 120 millimeter on the side, and the 140 millimeter on the front. The 140 mil on the front, the one on the side, and the one on the back all have low noise adapters on because without it, it's pretty much wind tunnel. And the cooler I have not set yet, but I'm just gonna have the computer control that fan speed instead of putting low noise adapter on it and locking it at 1200 RPM. So this is what it sounds like right now before I've adjusted the actual heat sinks fan speeds in when the BIOS. So here we go. I mean, really, the only fan speed I hear now is the two 140mm fans on the actual heatsink itself. And those are, again, two 140mm fans on the heatsink. So without them being turned down at all, it's going to pretty much be loud. But it's a lot quieter than it was before. I can already tell you that. And I mean, these things are still moving air. I mean, it's not a crap ton of air because I have it, again, limited to 1200 RPM. But, I mean, they're definitely moving some air through this thing. So, we're going to fire this thing up and get some benchmarks run now. Alright guys, so here we have the computer running Combustor and Prime 95, topping out the graphics card and the CPU. The CPU has just touched 41 degrees Celsius, and it's been about 15 minutes running both of these programs. The graphics card's sitting at about 75, and the fan speed's about 57% on my XFX 7970. So that is now the loudest part. I mean, I can come in here and go turn off the auto fan, turn the fan speed up, and here's the graphics card when it turns itself all the way up, which is never, really. So, but anyway, worst case scenario, here's what it sound like. But now, other than that, it's just the two 140mm fans that are running. A couple of other things I had to do to mention. I actually had to pull my G-Skill Ripjaws X out because the fan for the right side actually sat too high up, so my case wouldn't close. So I ended up taking my AMD Radeon RAM out of the AMD Test Drive 6800K rig and just shove that in there, and I'll just replace the parts with that. Another thing I did was I took the Fractal power supply out of the 6800K's machine and shoved that in there. It is a 650 watt. In a previous portion, I said it was 750, but it is a 650 watt gold. So it's still a better rating, and I'm pretty sure the fan's a little bit quieter on it because it's got a couple more blades than my XFX Pro one here. Because when this one was sitting at load, this was one of the loudest fans in the case, and I was like, yeah, I'll try the Fractal one out. The 6800K doesn't draw near as much power as this one, so I'm pretty sure this fan's going to stay pretty quiet whenever it's not running anything. So, yeah, that's what my system sounds like now. I mean, the minimum on these things were like 10 degrees Celsius is what it was idling at, and it's just now hitting 41 degrees Celsius, so yeah, this DH15 is definitely doing its job. Or DH15, it's a freaking NH-D15. That's what the hell it is. Yeah, that. Yeah, it's definitely doing its job. The Corsair H80, which I have sitting over here, this actually ran at about 48 to 50, something like that. But, yeah, it's definitely been put through its paces as well. So, I mean, it is what it is. The Noctua NH-D15 is definitely an amazing cooler. That's pretty much all I can really say. I mean, I'm hitting 41 on air when this is a water loop and it hit 48, something like that. It blows my mind. A couple of other things to note. On the back, I used 3 rubber grommets and 1 screw. Because the far top, if you're looking in the case, the top right, you can't reach in to pull the grommet through. If I had the motherboard out and stuff, I probably could, but I didn't. And another thing, these two on the left here actually get pinched by my side panel, so it doesn't like to shut. So I had to actually put my screw all the way in it instead of just, leaving it off for back and forth testing. I went and put it on the desk, and the grommets actually pushed the case off. But they're really, really good grommets. You got the grommets on this side, 4 grommets on the 140 on the front, and 3 on the back. And then I have the other 2 fans that would not fit in this case. I'm probably going to end up putting all of that into the 6800K case, which is the Fractal Design Archimedes R2 or something like that. But I'll go ahead and put the H80 in there too to replace my generic Rocket Fish cooler in the 6800K. I probably won't do too much benching on it because it doesn't. It's a 6800K. It doesn't really put out very much heat. But yeah. So anyway, Noctua NH-D15. It is an amazing air cooler. If you have the space for it, go for it. Another thing, the fan clips, they're kind of a pain, but once you get them, they're on there. They're not coming off. It is a very, very tall heatsink. If you have side fans on a standard case, it's probably not going to fit. The bottom one fit for me, but the top one there's no way. There was something else. Oh, yeah. If you have a Biostar TA990FX-E, I wouldn't recommend getting this cooler. The VRM heatsink is actually a little bit too big, so it touches the NH-D15. It's fine, but just saying, unless you really like tight squeezes, I mean, if this thing moves at all, it'll probably touch it. I don't think there's any danger of it, but just be forewarned. If you have a TA990FX-E by Biostar, it's probably a safer bet to go with like an older version of it or something, like the NH-D14. I don't know if the NH-D14 is bigger or smaller, but the NH-D15 is definitely just... it barely fits in this case. This 7970 in here actually isn't supposed to fit in this case, according to Cooler Master's website. So I probably believe that I have the most jam-packed Storm Scout by Cooler Master that anybody's ever seen. I'll get some B-roll here and show you guys all the stuff I did. Cable management was kind of a pain, but once you get it in there, it looks okay. I know you could probably do better if I did put the entire system in like the Archimedes R2 or something, but it is what it is. I like the Cooler Master Storm Scout because I can just take it and pick it up and walk whenever I want. So, yeah, that's about all I can say about it. Just be forewarned, it is a very tall heatsink. That's really it. So, thanks for checking this out, guys. Thanks for sticking with me. I'll catch you next time. Peace.